Hey guys, what is up, and welcome to today's video where I'm going to be talking all about farming ISO or XP in Marvel Contest of Champions. I'm going to refer to ISO as XP in the game because essentially it is experience points for your champions. You feed your champions these little ISO crystals or gems or rocks and they level up. That's, how you progress and advance your character. So I'm going to refer to it as XP because I do not like the name ISO. But yeah guys, we're going to be talking about how to farm them and kind of, the progression in the game and how you get more and more ISO. Because when you start the game, you're generally at this point where you have quite a bit of gold, but not really that much ISO or XP. And then as you kind of progress further into the game and you're getting more and more 4-star champions and doing Act 4, you find yourself with absolutely tons of XP, but not enough gold to both rank up your champions and, also feed them all the XP. Because, every time you feed them ISO or XP, then it does cost a considerable amount of gold, but just slightly under the equivalent to the amount of XP that you're feeding them. So I'm going to give you my farming tips for various progression stages in the game. Now, kind of looking back at my past progression, and when I was about a month into the game, I had about 3 4-star champions, and I was really, really desperate to get some XP because I wanted to level them up. And at this point, I just finished Chapter 4, and one of the quests that I found really, really helpful, just to repeat, was in Chapter 4. If you do number 1, the deal, it's with Storm, has an absolute ton of ISO. It's a very, very short and very, very easy quest to farm. So I just did that over and over again so that I could rank up some of my champions and make them more powerful so that I could move on to Act 4. So kind of what you're really pushing for as soon as possible is to be able to get to Act 4, because Act 4 has a ridiculous amount of ISO in every map. Some also notable mentions, which I personally found a little bit too difficult at the time of doing it, but the Thanos Enters chapter number 6, the final boss of Thanos. That is a really, really good chapter for energy spent per, ISO or XP rewarded. And also Act 2, chapter 4, part 6 of Kangin. That is also a really, really good map for ISO and XP. So those are good maps, but when you get to Act 4, right, Act 4 is really, really long, but also really, really rewarding in the terms of ISO and XP that you get, and you can complete Act 4 fully, providing that you can play the game fairly well and that you can parry and evade with just a couple of free 34-star champions. So that is entirely possible. If you are lucky enough to have a 3-star dupe Scarlet Witch, you can very easily do a full first completion with just that character, or even a Doctor Strange at a 3-star level. Very good champion for that chapter. So what I do suggest, is trying to push as hard as you can to do Act 4. Farm what you need in Act 3 from those really, really easy quests to do. Again, I do suggest, it's Chapter 4, Quest 1, because that one's just really easy. You can just farm it on repeat. But then you get to Act 4 and you fully do that. Now, by this time, you've probably got, quite a few champions, right? You're doing pretty well in the game. One thing that you also want to make sure that you farm and do, obviously, is the monthly quest. Let's just go into the event. So every month, we basically get a new event. It's currently X-Men Terror Genocide Terminus, and the rewards for kind of initially doing every map are actually pretty sweet. So let's go on to, you want to do definitely normal, maybe beginner as well, depending on, what stage you're in the game. But if we look at the quest details, the quest rewards even, you get a bit of additional ISO for the first time that you complete and explore it, so these are really good to do. Plus you get ISO and XP throughout the map, along with additional rewards such as units and also premium hero crystal shards. The next thing I kind of want to talk about is obviously, well, not obviously, but it's expanding your roster, because again, when you get to the end game, farming ISO and getting tons of it is all about duping your champions, because if you do dupe a 3-star or 4-star champion, you are going to get a crazy amount of ISO. If you dupe a 3-star one, you get 2 of the 5k ones, and if you dupe a 4-star one, you get 24 of the 5k ones. So 3-star dupes are good. That's about, if you tie it in perfectly with a class, that is 15,000 experience. And then, the 4-star ones, can't even calculate that off the top of my head, but it is a lot of experience. It is, without the class bonus, it is 120,000. So yeah, 4-star dupes, they're quite rare to get, but again, quite valuable. And this is kind of when you really want to start grinding arena. You want to try and hit the 4-star arena and get to that magical 1.5 million milestone every week. Because, you know, you are going to get a ton of premium hero crystals from that, a ton of units, and a ton of gold. And gold is very, very important because, as I said, you know, once you get to the end game, you are going to have tons of ISO. I have so much ISO at the moment, probably like maybe a couple million in terms of what I have, but I just have no gold at the moment. So I'm going to also tell you guys a little bit of a balancing strategy that I do as well. So yeah, guys, it's very important as well that you you grind out in the arena, try to get to that 1.5 million. That's also going to give you the free star crystal along with all the milestone rewards every week, which, you know, is might be a new free star, or it's eventually going to lead to a free star dupe, which again is going to be about 15k experience. Pretty decent. Now let's go on to the balancing strategy. So that's kind of the general gist of farming ISO, right? You're going to get to this point once you've done Act 4 where you're getting way too much ISO, and it's flooding your inventory. And you're going to end up like me, where you've got like 1,000 and a bit of it left. Now, ISO actually sells for the same value regardless if it is class or basic, but you want to sell as many of the basic ones as possible because basic ones are 50% less effective. If you match a class one with the right class, so if I put a tech one to level up an Iron Man, I only get 50% more benefit out of that ISO, whereas if I just use a basic one, then it's going to be the same, and they sell for exactly the same rate, you know, per the point of experience. So the basic ones are much more cost effective to sell, so you should always sell the basic ones. And in terms of like playing efficiently with the resources that you have when ranking up champions, you should always try to kind of think ahead in the future. And, you know, it's going to be significantly more efficient, 50% more efficient, if you rank up all your champions using the color-corrected ISOs and the class matching up. So that's kind of my advice to you guys, is play really, really smart. Think about kind of the longer-term plan. Try to get it so that you're only ranking up your top champions with the class-specific ISOs, and sell all the basic. I probably have about a good 1,000 basic ones that I need to go through and sell. I have so many of them, but I'm never going to use them. Like, unless I grind arena like an absolute madman, then it's just not going to happen. So they're much more efficiently used being sold for gold, and then, you know, actually having the gold to use the, I don't know, 500, 600 ISOs that I have left. So that's kind of my my little strategy when it comes to ISOs. Again, they don't really sell for that much. I think it's about what is it, 0.66 per point of XP. Let me just quickly test that out. I did all the math on it soon, so yeah, it's actually about half, yeah, about 50% of the value of the ISO in terms of XP for gold. So it's not really that great, but again, you are going to be very lacking behind in gold and have a ton of ISOs once you start getting to that level where you dupe 4-star champions. I'm just trying to think, guys, do I have any other pro tips for ISO farming? It's just really about getting as many champions as you possibly can. When it also comes to the event quest as well, it's always a good idea to do the exploration for normal, because, you know, you'll get another 3-star champion, or actually you'll get 2 3-star champions, one from the crystals and also a guaranteed one. So again, that is more ISO, or another character that you can potentially dupe in the future, and yet again get more ISO. Heroic's really good just for the completion, and it's something that you might struggle with and find a little bit difficult at first, but I really suggest, if you're having difficulty completing Heroic for the first time, look up Dorky Diggity Dave's Guide to Parrying and get the Parrying and Evade Mastery, because that's what you really need. And if you can evade and parry well, Heroic can be done with even like 600 PI champions. I mean, in the like Phoenix Showcase video, we absolutely destroyed Phoenix with like a level 600 PI Gamora. So it's not really about like the power level of your champions necessarily, it's about like how well you can play the game. And parrying and evading are 2 really key components to being able to farm these quests quite easily. And yeah, exploration as well, if you do have kind of the skill required, go for that. Definitely, that's good. Won't really help you in the ISO, but oh well, it kind of will, I guess, because, you know, you get more 4-star shards, 5-star shards, getting closer to even more more 4-star champions. Again, it's just kind of moving forward that day that you're eventually going to dupe a 4-star champion. So that's what it's all about. And then beginner doesn't really, bring too much to the table at all. I mean, it gives you a little bit of ISO for doing it. It's probably worth doing once for the units. You know, just the full completion of it, and you get a few premium hero crystal shards, which are beneficial when you're starting the game. But yeah, it really isn't that much, is it, guys? But it's all right, you know, if you got a bit of time to kill, go for that. Okay, finally, what else do we have? But yeah, guys, arena is where it's at as well, because like grinding arena, you're gonna get the arena crystals and shards, and those are gonna give you an absolute boatload of gold. And again, what you do need is you need a ton of gold. You need so much gold to rank up the champions. I'm only on 24k gold. I'm so broke at the moment. But after this, I'm gonna have a big session where I sit down and just sell all my basic ISO. But I wanted to keep them for the purpose of this video, just to show you guys how the disparity between ISO and gold. I'm sure a lot of endgame players, you know, feel the same way as me, apart from the people who maybe shoot for the featured champion every week and, you know, get like 15 million points because they probably have a ton of gold and maybe not that much ISO, but I'm sure they have no complaints about that. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching. If you have any pro ISO farming tips that you'd like to share with us, please do leave them in the comments below. If you like the video, guys, feel free to like the video. That would be awesome. If you want to see more awesome Marvel Contest of Champions content, hit that subscribe button. Apart from that, guys, take care and have an absolutely fantastic day.